Greetings everyone. Hope all of you are having an absolutely fantastic day. Let's dive into Mass Effect Legendary Edition. We are less than a week away from release. I can't even deny it. I'm getting excited. I've played through the trilogy more times than I care to count, and it's still going to be a blast going through it one more time. I know the first video that I made about this series, I was definitely hard on it, made it clear I felt like they weren't doing right by the fans, that after the travesty that was Andromeda, they owed us more content, they owed it to us to do more. But I'll be honest, after doing the work for this video and seeing the wealth of changes that have been made for the Legendary Edition, I'm not going to say that I take everything back, but I think it's hard to look at this list and not be impressed and not feel good, at least on some level. And at the end of the day, it's just Mass Effect. Who's going to refuse a new Mass Effect game? So let's go ahead. Let's dive into this. I wanted to create a video that will basically allow you all to easily see all of the changes that have happened for the series. And I've marked the chapters, so if there are only specific sections that you're interested in, you're more than welcome to skip around the video and look at those. All right, getting into specifics. I'm going to go character creation, then Mass Effect 2 and 3, because those are kind of the smallest ones. And then we'll get into the big sections, which are the changes that affect all the games and the changes that only affect Mass Effect 1. So starting with the character creation system, all games have access to the same character creation system, and additional options have been added like new skin tones and hairstyles. This means Shepard can look exactly the same across all three games, which honestly was not possible before. You of course have the option of using the standard version of Fem Shep and Male Shep, or customizing it to whatever you wish. For the canon version of Female Shepard in the Mass Effect Legendary Edition, they used the same model as what was used in Mass Effect 3. This is different from the model that was used in Mass Effect 1. However, the model from Mass Effect 1 is still available as a preset option. So basically, you're able to choose, do you prefer the Mass Effect 3 version, the Mass Effect 1 version, or would you like to completely create your own? It's up to you. Now let's go into the changes specifically for Mass Effect 2. The frequency of ammo drops has been increased, especially for the sniper rifle. This is a big deal. I used to love playing as an infiltrator in Mass Effect 2 and run out of sniper rifle ammo all the time. There was also a Paragon Renegade bug in Mass Effect 2 that impacted what kind of dialogue options you had available, to the point that it could directly impact your Mass Effect 3 playthrough. Those bugs have now been fixed. So I got that information from the official Mass Effect website. I have no idea what bug they're talking about. I've of course had the experience of going into ME3 and not being able to get the ending that I wanted, but I never felt like it was because of a Mass Effect 2 bug. So if any of you looking at this know what the heck they're talking about, please put it down in the comments and let me know, because I was completely confused. All right, and then for Mass Effect 3, there's one change. Galaxy at War is no longer impacted by multiplayer or the companion app. So in the original game, the Galaxy at War system, which is basically a rating that says, how prepared is your military to go into this final confrontation with the Reapers? Part of that score was based upon the multiplayer component of the game, and there was also some sort of separate app that you could use with the game that I never actually used. Well, now they've thrown all that out. Instead, now your Galaxy at War score is completely dependent upon how much content throughout the trilogy you have actually completed. That means if you try to go straight to Mass Effect 3 and just play through that, you will more than likely get one of the worst endings. Because not only is it dependent upon the content in the trilogy, Bioware has stated that getting some of the better endings in Mass Effect 3 now in the Legendary Edition is harder than it was in the original. So they're really pushing you to play at least one of the other games and not just jump straight to Mass Effect 3 and try to get the ending. Okay, so now let's go through the content that impacts all of the games. The Mass Effect Genesis comic has been added, so even if you start with Mass Effect 2 or 3, you can still select decisions based on previous games. So for those of you who played Dragon Age, this is kind of like the Keep, which was a website you could go to where you could look at some of the decisions that were possible in the first two Dragon Age games and select those, and then it would automatically import a save into Dragon Age Inquisition when your playthrough started up without you having to have a save of your own or play through those games all over again. You'll be able to go through the Mass Effect Genesis comic and make decisions based on some of the really important points of the story. Keep in mind, if I remember correctly, the comics basically hit the high points. You know, there are 3 or 4 major decisions you're going to make in both games, and the comic is going to allow you to do that. It's, of course, not going to go through all of the smaller decisions that are made throughout both games. So the previous change regarding Galaxy of War still applies. You're not going to get enough content from the comic book to give you the type of ending that more than likely you want. Cover has been improved across all the games, and some encounters, more cover has been added, and the process of entering and exiting cover is more reliable. All games have the same settings for subtitles and languages. Saves are unique for each game and can be managed independently. New achievements have been added, and progress for some achievements carry over across all 3 games. For example, if there's an achievement to kill 250 enemies, you can kill 150 in Mass Effect, another 100 in Mass Effect 2, so on and so on. Some achievements that were deemed redundant have been removed. Other achievements have had their objectives, descriptions, or names updated. The weapons and armor DLC packs are now integrated into the game. You can research or purchase them from merchants as you progress. They will not be available from the start. So in Mass Effect 2 and 3, you had specific weapon and armor DLC packs, and right when you start up the game, all your DLC would just be sitting there waiting for you. And you could kind of pick which one you want to go with. Now it appears that you're going to have to find them throughout the game, which is fine. Whatever, I don't care about that. The Recon Hood from Mass Effect 2 and the Cerberus Ajax armor from Mass Effect 3 are available at the start of each game respectively. Audio has been remixed and enhanced. And then finally, I wanted to let you look at the PC requirements for all 3 games. So in addition to the information you see on the screen for console players, players on PC can play up to 240 frames per second, and refresh rates up to 240 Hz are supported. Additionally, PC players can tweak several graphic options at any time to fine-tune the preferred balance of graphics and performance. Meanwhile, console players will have the options you see up on the screen right now. They can toggle between these 2 different gameplay modes. The favor quality mode is going to prioritize achieving the highest visual fidelity possible in exchange for a lower target frame rate. On the other hand, the favor frame rate mode prioritizes the highest frame rate possible by scaling native resolution and reducing some graphical features. Mind you, it says up to. So take it all with a grain of salt. Hey, I mean, let's be honest, we haven't really seen this game, right? We've seen the trailers they've shown us and these comparison videos, but we haven't really seen this game. So when they say up to instead of this is what it's going to run at, to me that sounds dicey. Maybe I'm just being critical, but I don't really trust that. But it's what's on their website, so I figured I'd provide it to you. Native controller and 21:9 display support will be available on PC with DirectX 11 compatibility. And then finally, hundreds of bugs from the legacy version of all 3 games have been fixed. Next up is the Mako, which also has had several changes. Physics have been tuned to make the Mako slide less. Thank the heavens. The Mako now has no issues aiming at lower angles. It's cool. Shields recharge faster. New thrusters have been added for more speed. The speed cooldown is separate from the jump jets. The XP penalty for being in the Mako has been removed. So in the original games, if you killed a bunch of enemies by running over them or using the cannon on the Mako, you got significantly less XP for that than you would if you just got out and took care of them directly. And touching lava no longer results in an instant death. Instead, a damage over time effect occurs. Man, is this a quality of life change. It is so irritating to just tiptoe a little bit into lava. A little piece of your tire got into it, and all of a sudden, dun 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 dun, game over. So irritating. So this is significantly better. All right, those are the changes for the Mako. So next up are the changes for Mass Effect 1, but before we get into that, wanted to remind all of you, this is a channel where we focus on RPGs, playing them, providing news about them, trying to help make these games the best that we possibly can. If that's the kind of content you're into, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and leave me a like. It really helps the algorithm to point more people towards my content and helps get more exposure for the channel. Appreciate everyone that took the time to watch this video. All right, so let's go ahead and get into Mass Effect 1. First and foremost, XP has been rebalanced. If you do most things in the game, you will reach a high level without needing to play the game a second time, and there is no level cap. All weapons can be used by any class without penalty. Upgrading weapons is still class specific. This is amazing. One of the most annoying things about Mass Effect 1 is that depending upon what class you were using, it had a huge impact on what weapon was going to be available to you. I always preferred playing the soldier in Mass Effect 1 for this specific reason. I wanted to be able to pull out whatever weapon I like at any given time. And so now they've made a change where you will be able to do that, but you just won't get the specific powers that each weapon will have, which it's not really that big of a deal. Accuracy has been tuned across all weapons to give players more consistent firepower while still allowing weapons to overheat. Aim down sights camera is tighter now to make it closer to Mass Effect 2 and 3, which should make your shots more accurate. And the aim assist has also been improved for more precision. Weapon sway has been removed from sniper rifles. The reticle bloom is more controlled. That is huge. That is huge. I used to love using the assault rifle. And if you had no points in the assault rifle, the reticle that determined where your shots were going, it would blow up and damn near take up half the screen because it was all based around powers. You could be standing right in front of a guy and the game would tell you all your shots were missing. So this is significantly better. Weapons cool down much faster. Some of the abilities have been rebalanced. For example, the immunity ability from the soldier class now gives a powerful defensive buff for a brief period of time instead of a small buff for an indefinite period. This makes zero sense to me. Maybe it's going to make more sense when I actually read what they've done, but in the original game, if you maxed immunity all the way, you got 80% damage protection for 20 seconds. That ain't a small buff for an indefinite period of time. So I'm not exactly sure what they're trying to accomplish with that, but this is one of the interesting changes they've made that they haven't really fleshed out. They keep saying we've changed some of the abilities, but I haven't seen like that full list that explains this is what they've actually done in comparison to what the abilities originally are. So it'll be interesting to dive into that once the full game comes out. Shepard can now sprint in and out of combat. Melee attacks are mapped to a button press rather than automatically occurring based on where an enemy is. All relevant enemies take headshot damage. Originally, humans did not. I didn't know that. You know, the gun mechanics in Mass Effect 1 were more than a little crappy, to the point that you weren't aiming for a specific body part. You were just aiming to hit that particular individual and then just keep unloading until the guy went down. So there wasn't enough precision to try to aim for headshots all the time unless you were using a sniper rifle, which honestly I didn't think was all that much fun in the game. So I didn't realize that human enemies did not take headshot damage. That's crazy to have a game based around gunplay where human-like enemies do not take headshot damage. Wow. All right, Medigel cooldown has been reduced. The benefits of leveling first aid have been increased. Items can now be flagged as junk, and all junk items can be converted into Omnigel or sold to merchants at once. Inventory and stores now have sorting functionality. Weapon powers have been improved in effectiveness, strength, and duration. Heat now resets upon power activation, and heat basically replaces ammo in Mass Effect 1. So you don't actually reload. It's just the more you shoot your weapon, the more heat your weapon generates. So you have to manage that and let the heat go down in order to be able to keep firing. Boss fights have been tweaked to make things more fair. They specifically mentioned the main boss fight on Novaria and how there wasn't enough cover and made the fight significantly harder than it had to be. So they added some additional cover there. Whatever. Mass Effect is not a game series that you play because it's so challenging. Like, I don't think it was hard enough for them to note this, like, oh yeah, we made this change because everybody really needed it. Who's complaining about the difficulty level of Mass Effect? Come on. Squad mates can be commanded independently of each other like you can in Mass Effect 2 and 3. This is awesome. Being able to independently command them in 2 and 3 made it significantly easier to do combos. I don't know if they've added the combo system into Mass Effect 1. Probably not. But even still, just being able to have that level of control over your party, it's a big quality of life increase. And then finally, Liara's bonus to cooldowns has been increased. So, based upon the information that is on Bioware's website, this is the full list of changes that they have made to the series. And, you know, I gotta admit, there's a lot of quality of life changes. There's a lot of things in here that I am quite sure is going to make the experience even more enjoyable for me than it was when I originally went through the trilogy. Is it enough to win back a lot of the fans that they've lost, though? That is going to be the question. I think they have really succeeded in making this a huge event that a lot of people are looking forward to. And my hope is that that's going to lead to positive momentum going into Mass Effect 4. Of course, we still got to get through the launch. Bioware isn't necessarily known for smooth launches, so we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But hopefully the launch is smooth and there's no huge bugs or issues that takes things down, and we can just try to all move forward into a phase where Bioware gets back to making games that we all love and that frankly have been some of the best games ever created. So let me make it absolutely clear. I am pulling for Bioware. The same way I know a lot of you are watching this video are. I am pulling for them to get their stuff together and get back to making the type of games we can get behind. So hopefully the start of that in another week, we'll be able to see. Appreciate all of you. Thank you for watching. Again, if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, leave me a like, and I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.